Have you ever wondered how a single thread could change the world? Not just any thread, but a shimmering, luxurious thread of silk. For over 1,500 years, this very thread was at the heart of one of the most important networks in human history, the Silk Road. This wasn't just one road, but a sprawling web of trade routes that connected the vibrant civilizations of the East with the powerful empires of the West. It was a conduit not only for precious goods, but for groundbreaking ideas, transformative religions, and even world-altering technologies. So buckle up as we journey back in time across vast deserts and towering mountains to uncover the incredible story of the Silk Road from its ambitious beginnings to its dramatic end, and explore how it fundamentally shaped the world we live in today. Our story begins over 2,000 years ago, during China's powerful Han Dynasty, around 130 BCE. A visionary ruler, Emperor Wu, had a bold idea. He wanted to forge alliances with distant kingdoms in Central Asia. To do this, he dispatched a courageous diplomat named Zhang Qian on a perilous journey west. Zhang Qian's mission was fraught with danger. He was captured, imprisoned, and faced countless hardships, but his perseverance paid off. When he finally returned to China years later, his reports were he described powerful horses, exotic goods, and diverse cultures previously unknown to the Han court. Inspired by these accounts, Emperor Wu formally opened the trade routes. This was the birth of the Silk Road. Suddenly, a channel for organized, large-scale trade between China and the West was established. Chinese silk, a fabric so prized it was worth its weight in gold, began its long journey westward, eventually reaching the marketplaces of the mighty Roman Empire. In return, goods like Roman glassware, gold, and silver flowed eastward, creating a vibrant exchange that would define an era. But the Silk Road was much more than just a highway for luxury goods. It was a bridge for culture and ideas. As merchants and caravans traveled these routes, they carried their beliefs and knowledge with them. One of the most significant cultural exchanges was the spread of Buddhism. Originating in India, Buddhist monks traveled along the Silk Road, carrying sacred texts and sharing their teachings. They established monasteries in oasis towns, which became centers of learning and art. Over centuries, Buddhism took root in China and transformed its cultural and spiritual landscape, a legacy that endures to this day. At the same time, other faiths, like Nestorian Christianity, also spread eastward, creating a fascinating tapestry of religious diversity across Central Asia. This flow of ideas wasn't limited to religion. The Silk Road was an information superhighway of the ancient world, connecting minds and fostering innovation across continents. Let's fast forward a few centuries. After the glorious days of the Han Dynasty in the Roman Empire, the Silk Road entered a more turbulent period. As great empires crumbled, the routes became fragmented and less secure. Small kingdoms and nomadic tribes vied for control, often imposing heavy taxes or preying on vulnerable caravans. Trade dwindled, and the once bustling artery of commerce became quiet and dangerous. For a time, it seemed the golden age of the Silk Road was over. But history is a cycle of rise and fall, and a new, formidable power was about to emerge from the vast steppes of Asia that would not only revive the Silk Road, but usher in its most prosperous era. This new power was the Mongol Empire. In the 13th century, under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors, the Mongols conquered a colossal territory, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe. It was the largest contiguous land empire in history. While their conquests were often brutal, the result was an unprecedented period of stability and unity across Asia. This era, known as the Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace, was a game-changer for the Silk Road. The Mongols established a system of governance that protected merchants and travelers. They set up a postal relay system called the Yam, with stations providing fresh horses and provisions, making travel faster and safer than ever before. Marco Polo, the famous Venetian traveler, journeyed extensively through Mongol-controlled lands and was amazed by the efficiency and security of the routes. Trade boomed once again. Silk, porcelain, and spices flowed west in massive quantities, while European merchants brought back wool, silver, and other goods. This wasn't just about commerce. It was a reunion of East and West, sparking a new wave of cultural exchange and economic growth that would have a profound impact on both sides of the world. During this vibrant period of renewed exchange under the Pax Mongolica, the flow of ideas and technology accelerated dramatically. One of the most world-changing innovations to travel west was an invention the Chinese had been using for centuries. Paper. Before paper reached Europe, books and documents were written on expensive and cumbersome parchment made from animal skin. The arrival of affordable, easy-to-produce paper revolutionized communication and knowledge. It paved the way for Johannes Gutenberg's printing press a couple of centuries later, which in turn fueled the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. Another explosive Chinese invention that made its way west along the Silk Road was gunpowder. While initially used for fireworks and rudimentary weapons in China, its military applications were quickly recognized and developed in Europe, forever changing the nature of warfare and the balance of global power. These are just two examples, but they illustrate a crucial point. The Silk Road wasn't just moving silk and spices. It was moving the very building blocks of the modern world. However, the Silk Road was a double-edged sword. While it facilitated the spread of goods and knowledge, it also became a pathway for something far more sinister: disease. The same routes that connected bustling cities and diverse populations also allowed infectious diseases to travel with unprecedented speed and reach. The most devastating example of this was the Black Death. In the mid-14th century, this catastrophic plague swept across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, wiping out an estimated 30 to 60% of Europe's population. While the exact origins are still debated by historians, many believe that the plague-causing bacterium traveled from the steppes of Central Asia along the very trade routes that had brought so much prosperity. The interconnectedness that defined the Silk Road also made it a tragically effective conduit for the deadliest pandemic in recorded history, a stark reminder of the unintended consequences of globalization. Even in the ancient world, all good things must come to an end. And so it was for the Silk Road. By the mid-15th century, the world was changing. The vast Mongol Empire had fractured, and the political stability it once provided was gone. The final blow came in 1453. The rising Ottoman Empire, a new power in the Middle East, conquered Constantinople and effectively closed the overland trade routes. To the west, they boycotted trade with China and the rest of Europe, severing the primary artery that had connected East and West for centuries. This closure created a crisis for European kingdoms. Their access to the coveted spices, silks, and other luxuries of the East was cut off. But this crisis also sparked incredible innovation and ambition. Faced with a blocked land route, European powers like Portugal and Spain began pouring resources into maritime exploration, determined to find a new way to Asia by sea. This quest for a sea route to the Indies inadvertently led to the Age of Discovery. Christopher Columbus sailed west, bumping into the Americas. Vasco da Gama sailed south around Africa, reaching India. A new chapter in global history had begun, one dominated by sea lanes and European naval power, leaving the ancient Silk Road to fade into the sands of time. So, what is the legacy of this incredible network? The Silk Road may have faded from use, but its impact is all around us. It created the first truly globalized world, connecting diverse civilizations and proving that exchange and interaction are powerful engines of progress. It enriched cultures, spread religions, and transferred technologies that fundamentally altered the course of history. From the paper this history is written on to the complex tapestry of global cultures we see today, the echoes of the Silk Road are undeniable. It stands as a powerful testament to humanity's enduring desire to connect, to trade, and to learn from one another across vast distances. The story of the Silk Road is more than just a history of trade. It's the story of how our modern, interconnected world came to be. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this exploration of the Silk Road, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. Let me know in the comments what piece of Silk Road history you found most fascinating. Until next time, stay curious.